Here's a normal solder job. As you can see, there's just not much solder on the part itself. It's just enough to hold it down. Now that, you know, if you look at this, I can show it to you, my hand's in the way. If you look at that, that's not much solder on that at all. Okay, and that's what the Chinese will do. And hope it holds, okay? Now, it'll hold a little bit, okay? But not a hell of a lot. A good twist and that's gonna pop loose. So, what I'll do is I'll go back and I'll put a drop on it, just like I showed you before. You know, just a little dollop across this, you know, wire to be 100% sure it's gonna hold, you know, under a little bit more stressful circumstances. Otherwise, it stands a chance of coming loose, and that's what you don't want to happen. You want a good solid, but you know, of course, you don't want a big blob of solder on there covering the whole thing up. But just want enough on there to hold it in position, and if it gets a little tug on it, to stay in place. So that's pretty much how I solder. If anybody has any questions about it. Here's something odd. You got one of those new style end jacks, right, with the special side to it, to hold the end jack in place constantly, right? So it doesn't twist. However, somebody's cut a hole into the plate to make it round. It's like, what were they thinking? That was supposed to be there to keep this jack from moving around, and now they defeated the whole purpose of the jack. So go figure that out. This is perplexing. It doesn't look like the same jack. Well, I don't know, it could be the same jack plate, the right one, I don't know, but obviously it's not going to work with this jack plug. Anyway, I'll have to ask him when he gets here if that was changed out without him knowing it. You look at this, to get the proper height on this pickup, they've had to jack these springs so tight, right, because there's too much spring there, that there's no movement in the pickup at all. It's just stuck. Okay, it won't balance, won't do anything. It's supposed to ride on the springs like the shock absorbers do, and when you can't get it to move and it gets cocked, well, that's a problem. Okay, the thing to do is to find the right size springs, smaller, different shape than what's on here right now. So I want to take these old springs off and put new ones on here and get that little issue settled real quick. All right. These are the ones I took out of there. Just too much spring for what was needed. Too tight and just too long. I switched them out for a set like these, but in chrome. And they're perfect. The pickup bounces in there real nicely now. Has a lot of give to it. You know, it's not just rock solid tight, so you can't move. You know, it's not rock solid tight, even when it's down so low. You know. That's what you want. You don't want something that's just, you know, so tight it won't move at all. So there's no adjustment left, right? So that's what we're looking at, right? Pretty cool. See a nice lot of bounce to them, right? Compared to the others that wouldn't move at all into the jack this tight. Anyway, hang in there. What you're looking at is the inside of this little Epiphone, and I got several problems, and mainly they stem from the fact that the guitar, the pickups are cut short. And one thing I preach to everybody is never ever cut your wires to your pickups. Wrap them around the side here somewhere, or pull them back around the post inside the cavity if you have to, but never cut these, because who knows later on what you're going to be doing. But in this case, they were cut exactly to fit. So I'm pretty much left with nothing to work with. And what I've had to do is go in and shave a bunch of wires to try to make this thing work. And I'm still having a little problem grounding this pot to the neck. Okay, the next pot, trying to get it grounded. It takes two wires to ground this. One's a bare wire, one's a green one, coming from the pickups, and I gotta get that in there and get it grounded as best I can. And they're very different lengths now since it's been cut and damaged. So I've had to open up the body, or the cover of the pickup, and expose new ground wire. Now I've got a back loop this original thing here, this original ground wire, and try to solder these two together, and then pull those over far enough to get to the top of that pot, or at least to the side of it. And at the same time, of course, get the hot wire in there as well. There's only 3 more wires, well actually 4, I put a ground to the bridge to finish the guitar off. So I'm going to have to do some extra solder to make sure this stays where it belongs. Okay, now one thing else is that when you're using such thin amounts of wires on this, and you'll have a lot of gap, like you see some of these, I put a nice big gap in case you decide to get in there and twist something, right? Such as you get a loose nut on a tone or volume knot, or a loose nut on the jack. And I'll put in there a couple of drops of Loctite, blue Loctite, so you can't twist those nuts, and they won't come undone. This will keep them in place until you put a drop, and I mean a drop of fingernail polish remover on them to get them off loose, and you don't pull these wires loose, twisting them, trying to get them tight again. Okay, and there is a method to tighten up if you're out there and you got a loose nut on a volume tone knob, where there are methods to be used to make them tight without pulling them loose from the wiring. It all involves opening up the back, holding your finger on the pot and doing that way, or you can back off the volume all the way back and hold that in place with like a thin blade, right? And so it doesn't move anywhere, and then twist the knob, but you're holding that pot in position. I'll show you that later on. But I'll let him know I'll put a drop of this on all the nuts on this guitar so that he doesn't get in there and say, oh, I got a loose nut, and twist it, because there's not any wire left over on these pickups to be doing that with. But it should work, and the main thing is you don't want it to put on extensions on these ground wires and such. That's always a bad idea. You want to try to use the original wires, and that has to do with tone and a few other electronic gadgets that I'm not aware of. But I was told don't extend wires on your pickups. You're going to get less than what they can do. And he spent a lot of money on his pickups, so I'll make sure he gets all he's paid for. But I've got that one problem. He's cut them short. And like I said, guys, wind them around inside here. It won't do any harm, right? Just to find a little spot and just kind of wrap them around the inside, and, gently put them down, or wrap them around the body of the pickup, back in the pickup route, so that you don't have to cut these. And it's just really good practice not to cut pickup wires, okay? So I got a little bit of work to do to clean this one up. As you can see, it's pretty much in a not too great a shape, and that's kind of the way I inherited it. But it can be fixed. It's just going to take a little bit of time and effort, and we'll get this guitar playing here in a little bit. So hang in there, guys. I want to make sure that it's real clear about this. This is the wiring diagram that Tone Rider provides for their humbucker pickups. And the only issue I see with this is I don't see a ground wire from the bridge at all on this diagram. And my guesstimate is going to go on this top pickup here on the volume, right where the three-way's grounded, because that's pretty much the way they go. The ground from the three-way also gets the ground from the bridge as well. So if that turns out to be wrong, I'll have to stretch the dickens out of that thing and get it down there to this pickup. This other pickup here that's grounded to the jack. A lot of times it goes there. Okay, it's grounded plus the jack. All right, but we're going to try it up here, and it does have length for it, but down here it doesn't. I may have to lengthen it and shrink it, but I hate doing that on the ground. But there you go. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. Hang in there. Well, we're finished with the soldering, and I've gone through and I've given everything a nice little tug. Make sure everything's in place, it's not going to come loose from a bad solder joint. But if you got in there and twist these real good, yeah, they'll come loose. Again, that's why I'm stressing. Where is it? Use this Loctite on those nuts. Keep those potentiometers from twisting around. I did leave a lot of gap in these things, as you can see, to make sure that at least you have a little playroom with it, in case you go crazy. and start twisting on them. But 9 times out of 10, the repairs that I do on the work that I do, someone's gone in there, you had a loose potentiometer, they didn't screw it on right, you know, which I'll show you how that's done in a little bit, to, you know, kind of ensure that the pot doesn't move at all, but just that you're, you know, moving the screw about. So use plenty of nice ducks, get this thing done. This kind of weather we're working with. This is the hurricane weather. You know, it's like, oh man. Anyway, trying to put the cap on, plug it in, and test the pickups. So hang in there. Okay, well, I finished wiring it all up, putting it together, testing it, and I got one little problem. The pickups won't separate. That I can't understand. It's like this 3-way, let me show you this, that'd be worn out because it's not separating the tones. In other words, I put it on one, it plays both. I put it on the middle, it plays both. But I flip it up to the top, it plays one. And it looks to me like they're not being, it's not separating as well as it should separate. That's something I really don't fix these things, I just replace them. So, I don't need to try to, you know, monkey with this anymore. I'm going ahead and replace this 3-way, which means going through and rewiring everything inside on the 3-way, these 4 wires. Okay, which is not going to be a lot of fun, but it's going to have to be done. So, I'd rather go ahead and put on a new 3-way and figure it out than try to make this work by bending a few parts and have it fail later. And I won't charge him for it, so it's not that big a deal. But it's better, like I said before, to, you know, don't work with old parts. There's no telling what they could, you know, tell what happens. Let's get to it. Let's get these wires out of here, these pickups out. But oh yeah, before I do that, let me show you this. Yeah, I got both pickups working. Excuse the buzz, it's because everything's opened up. But the only problem is, right? That's on both. Alright, this is on one pickup. It's on the other. Nope, it's on, yeah, it is. Nope. Alright, it's on the other. Now it's working. Great, now it's working. Figures. It's on both pickups. Right, both are working. It's on one pickup. Both are working. They did it again, damn it. It's not separating out the pickups. And that means a faulty 3-way switch, which, you know, it worked there once. I'm not going to try it and leave it like that for him to have to run across it. So I'm just going to switch it out and not charge him for it. Hang in there, guys. It always gets to be fun working with these guitars. In there instead. Of course, I really didn't have any way of knowing if that 3-way worked or not because his pickups weren't working. But I thought, since it hadn't been used that much, and it was like brand new to begin with, that 3-way should be working, right? Unfortunately, it's not. Okay, as you heard earlier, it did work for a second there and separate the pickups because basically it has to have a power from this 3-way, you know, to each pickup, right? And it's separate, right? When you flip them one way or the other, it hooks up one or another. It creates a circuit for one and not the other, or it's for both. You know, it's that simple how it works. But for some reason, those little plates that are inside the 3-ways, right? You can see they're not. The plates, they're inside the 3-way. Jesus, Dave, cameraman. The plates that are behind this that flip back and forth and become worn out, or the flipper has become worn out and it doesn't work anymore to separate that one pickup contact from the other. So we'll go in there and replace it with this. You can see them in there. There's little plates in there. Then when you flip this large plate moves away, so it doesn't longer make contact. Okay, that's simple. Right. So here we go. We're going to replace these, which means desoldering and running those wires all over again. Oh boy. But like I said, I'd rather have it working than have it quit on him and have both those pickups come blaring out when he's got, say, on one. That'd be a surprise. Anyway, hang in there. Well, I put in a new three-way. I put in a brand new end jack to get this thing settled in. I got rid of the hum, and I got rid of the buzzing, all that nasty stuff that was going on. I got both pickups on full blast, right? Nothing. I'm only getting the top pickup. Top pickup's working perfectly, the switch is working perfectly, just the bottom pickup's not working. The only thing I think of is that it's the one that had the least amount of wire to work with and was short on a bunch of stuff. So what I'm going to do is go back in there one more time and try to wire this thing up and start from scratch on its wiring to the potentiometer and other ground. I'm still haven't heard back from the manufacturers. Where does that bridge ground go? I asked them 4 days ago. I said, hey, come on guys, send me a response where to ground this thing. I hate, you know, not knowing it's not, well, I hate knowing it's not grounded. You know, I was like, damn. You know, who wants to play something like that and reach for a microphone? Anyway, like I said before, the top pickup's working fine, the switches are working fine, the jack's working fine, everything's working fine except the bottom damn pickup. The top is killer, you know, but that's no good. Like I said before, I'm going to take this out, rewire it all over again, one more time, so I can't figure this thing out. And as well as I may try to ground that bridge somewhere to get an idea if that helps any at all, which I doubt that it will, because you don't ground a bridge to a tone or volume. It always gets grounded to a tone. Anyway, hang in there guys, we're still working on it. I've replaced everything on this guitar, rewrapped it, and I'm still not getting anything out of that bottom pickup. It's got to be a dead pickup. I'm not getting any resistance from it when I test it. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's a loose, you know, one set wires, you know, for one of the pole wires, but that didn't seem to help any when I worked on that. So it's going to have to go back. And unfortunately, the only other pickup I have similar to that one is one of my older ones, if I can find it. Come on, camera, give me a break. And it's just not wired up the same. Okay, I have to have a second set of wiring set up for this one, and it just won't work. Just won't work. Damn it. This is a 6-wire setup, and his is just a 4, so that's a problem in putting the pole pieces together, pole wires together. This is a much better pickup too. I wish I could get it to work on his guitar. But anyway, very, very frustrating. So I tried everything I could think of to get that one pickup to work. Okay, we're just about to finish this thing up, and as you can see, I don't use a ton of solder, but I do use a lot more than the Chinese do. You can see I put a pretty good drop on these things to make sure that they're in place. And set up, even this bad weather, this humid weather, I use a flux to, you know, help grab these things, clean that thing off, help, you know, suck it down into the metal. But I have treated the metal. I've used brushes on them, like this one. Score the metal up, clean it off, and score it so I get a good ridge in there for that solder to adhere to. And I've gone back and cleaned it with the cleaning alcohol, right, to make sure I've got a clean surface. Get that poly off this thing, that poly resin that's left because of how they're packaged, okay, and the fingerprints, all that kind of good stuff. Get those off there as well. And really the only thing left to do on this one is to ground the one pickup. The other one's already grounded. To go through and to ground the bridge and ground the three-way. And then I'm pretty much finished. We'll check it out, see how it sounds. It should sound pretty darn good with this setup we got here. But, you know, main thing is I go through, once I finish doing all the wiring, get it all soldered in, I give it a little pull test to make sure it's not going to just pop off, right? And like I said earlier, to stop it from happening, I use this. Now I will tell the owner of this guitar about this. The wires on this guitar, on the pickups, are just super thin. I've never seen any this thin before. I have no idea what gauge they are, but they are extremely thin wires. And the shielding around is not bad, but man, oh man, oh man. I've gone back and added heat shrink to a bunch of these to keep them out of the way of things, basically, to make sure that they don't interfere with anything. But the whole problem with this guitar was trying to find length on these parts to make sure that they'll fit. Okay, that's simple, the length. You just can't cut these pickup wires and expect to you know, have them fit exactly in the guitar. It's always best just to leave them, just wrap them around here, guys. I can't stress that enough, because like in this case, we're going back, we have to remove the old setup and put the new ones in. And he didn't wire it that badly. He just didn't follow the exact specifications that this particular set of pickups calls for. It's not very unique. They are like others, but not like the way he wired it. He wired them, I think, according to a different diagram, which makes it more difficult to undo, replace all that stuff. And also, the main thing is that the parts that he used, I will be returning to him in good shape. Now, these are the parts that he used. Some really, I don't know where he got these pots, but they're not very good. You go from 0 to 500 within just to touch it. There's not much resistance whatsoever, but he's got some good Gibson potentiometers in here. They're like brand new. You can see I've cleaned this one up just a bit, and this one up too. And what I'll do is finish cleaning these up for him so he can use those on something else. Or if he wants to give them to me, I'll take them. And we'll finish polishing up his bridge and get that set up properly, and get it intonated. So we'll do a complete setup on his guitar at no charge, and make sure that he's happy with it and it's playing the way it should play. Then on, he'll be pleased about the work that I've done for him. And to make it real clear, I keep getting questions about this. I put this on Facebook for people to see it because it's a beautiful guitar. Maybe that whoever gave it to him saw it and wanted to post it, they gave it away. But the thing is, he gave it away to this guy, and it's going to be a great playing guitar now. He's got it all set up. But everybody keeps asking me, what does it cost to do one of these type of mods? Well, like I say before many times, I don't charge the same price other people's charge, because I cut it in half if they let me use their work, use the work on my YouTube channel. So one of these jobs costs in hours and parts and stuff around $250, $225, and that's just to do this. What I've been told. Also a setup is like 60 bucks, complete, 40 to 60. And all the other work I'm going to do, find the frets and do other things for him. So he's looking about 400 bucks to do this, but I only charge him about 60 or 80 bucks to do all this, plus the cost of the parts that I include here. And oh yes, one thing that's important, I don't mark up the cost of these parts. Okay, so if I pay 13 bucks a piece for these, that's what he'll pay, plus the tax and whatever. If I have to pay shipping on, if I don't have a set in the house, he has to pay the shipping charges. But the whole point is, I don't make any profit whatsoever on these parts. The guitar, when things all said and done. And normally, when setting this up, I would go ahead and use his Gibson parts. Okay, but these are old Gibson parts, and I have to guarantee this for a year's worth of action on the labor and stuff. So I don't want to use somebody else's parts I know nothing about, where they've been, what they've been through. But I will clean these up and give them back to him if he wants them. These are good parts. If it was my guitar, I would use those 2 Gibson parts and toss the other ones. But main thing is that he gets exactly what he wants and is happy with the job. And like I said, I got to guarantee this for a year's worth of labor, so I can't use someone else's parts on this. If it's brand new parts out of the box and I saw it, yeah, no problem. But not used parts out of the guitars. Okay, so make that clear. So here we go. We're going to finish this up and play it here pretty soon. Let you hear it. Get some new strings on it. Finish all the fret work on it and all that stuff on top once we get it playing. So hang in there, guys.